Hey everyone, it's me, Matt. Welcome back to my channel. I hope you've all had an amazing week. I know I sure have. The weather's been absolutely beautiful here in Florida. I know spring's right around the corner for most of you in the United States, but I'm here to say that spring has definitely sprung here in Florida. So in today's video, I'm planting some flowers in the big flower bed in front of my porch. This area of my front yard gets a lot of shade, and I've picked out some beautiful flowers perfect for this space that I can't wait to get in the ground. So let's get into it. So to start off, here's an overview of the planting area. You can see this is a fairly large flower bed here in front of my house. It's about 4 feet by 16 feet. You can see my rocking chairs and plants up on the porch looking great. So this flower bed is one of my main seasonal flower beds, and I try to change it out a few times each year. Also, this area is on drip irrigation. I installed this drip system myself last spring. I had the joy of pulling these bricks and digging a trench under my front walkway so I could pass this black 1/4-inch poly pipe into this flower bed so I could tie it into my irrigation system. Prior to installing the drip system, I used to water this area by hand. It wasn't too bad since there's so much shade, the soil stayed pretty moist, but I was still out here at least once, maybe twice a week with the hose, especially during the summer months. I will say that adding a good layer of mulch definitely helps retain moisture in your soil. I definitely recommend mulching your flower beds, especially the ones that aren't tied into an irrigation system. So before I dive into the flowers I selected for today's project, I wanted to quickly give you a recap of some of the past plantings I've done in this area. Here's a look at what I did one fall a few years back. You can see I planted white mums back close to the porch, and then I added red begonias up front close to the sidewalk. You can see I also added a yellow mum in the planter up on the porch. For winter that same year, I kept the red begonias, but I popped out the white mums and replaced them with red poinsettias. I also added a white poinsettia in place of the yellow mum in the container on the porch. For spring, I again kept the red begonias, but replaced the red poinsettias with white impatiens. And then eventually the begonias were replaced with these pink and yellow purslane for summertime. I really liked this color combination with the white impatiens. Also, look how tall and full those impatiens got. Last fall, I did this combination of white impatiens in the back and then pink and white begonias close to the front walkway. And then last spring, I planted alternating rows of red, pink, and white vincas. These vincas lasted from spring all the way until late fall. I definitely enjoyed them for several months. You can see I've had a ton of fun with my seasonal flower bed. I hope doing this look back recap has given you some additional inspiration for your own seasonal flower bed in your yard. Like I previously mentioned, this area gets a lot of shade. I definitely take that into account when planting here. I try to select part shade plants, and I typically plant the plants closer together to give a fuller appearance. So for this spring, I decided to fill this area with these white and purple impatiens. As I was looking back on my pictures of this area over the years, the white impatiens really stood out to me. They were always tall and full and covered with flowers. Most flowering plants require some sort of direct sun exposure in order to put on a ton of blooms, but the impatiens bloom profusely, even in full shade. Actually, this is a white impatient that I've had for years. It's always been in shade and it's always covered in blooms. Some real quick stats on these plants. They grow about 15 to 20 inches tall and 12 to 14 inches wide. They should be planted about 8 to 10 inches apart. They prefer shade, and they also like consistent soil moisture. I also wanted to mention that I got an amazing deal on all these impatiens. I bought 10 trays total, 5 white and 5 purple. Since I bought so many trays, I got bulk pricing at my local Home Depot. Each 12-count tray was a little less than $12. So before doing any planting, I went ahead and top dressed the garden bed with some compost and spread some all-purpose slow-release granular fertilizer. The addition of compost and fertilizer will help rejuvenate the soil in this flower bed. Flowering annuals are heavy feeders, and these impatiens will definitely appreciate the big boost of energy right after planting. As far as placement, I'm going to alternate these white and purple impatiens in a sort of checkerboard pattern. I'm going to space them about 8 inches apart. Eventually, they'll all grow together, completely covering the mulch, making a beautiful blanket of white and purple blooms.
So I finessed the placement a little. You can see I've got my checkerboard pattern all laid out. In total, I've got about 110 plants in this space. So let me get to digging and I'll get them all in the ground. Check it out, the flower bed's all planted in. Doesn't it look so beautiful? You'll notice I added a layer of mulch, so this will help the soil retain the moisture. Again, I love this color combination and the checkerboard pattern. It's gonna look so good as these plants start to fill in.
So that was seriously a ton of work planting in all those flowers. I was able to squeeze in all 120 plants. As I was planting, I found some room and squeezed in those last 10 plants. As far as watering, I didn't water these flowers in. We had a ton of rain about 3 or 4 days ago, so the ground was still pretty wet. Plus, my drip irrigation system is scheduled to run early tomorrow morning.
My drip system runs for 30 minutes every 3 days. The drip tubing has 1 gallon per hour emitters every 18 inches. So I'm gonna keep an eye on this flower bed and adjust the watering schedule if needed, but I think the current schedule is gonna work just fine. Let me take a step back here so you can see the flower bed in the house. I'm so happy with how this turned out. It's so nice to add some color to my front landscape. It definitely adds curb appeal and makes my front porch and entryway so much more inviting. Also, check out how dirty my nails are. I call this the gardener's French tip.
I hope this video has inspired you to plant up your own high-impact seasonal flower bed in your yard. It's always great to carve out an area of your garden that you can alternate with the seasons. Remember to hit those like and subscribe buttons so you can hang out with me in future videos. I hope you have a great rest of your day, and I'll see you in the next one.